everyone. It's 6:39 p.m. on October 23rd, and this is the October meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust. Wayne, do I kick it to you to read the remote minutes?
I'm happy to do that. Let me just call it up here in a minute.
I think I have it up as well.
Thank you. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom, and attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward quorum. The meeting may be broadcast live and will be recorded on ECAT. Folks can attend the meeting by using Zoom in the link provided in the posted agenda. When conducting meetings remotely, we try to keep the meeting operation as close to standard procedure as possible. However, using the Zoom platform means a few additional meeting protocols. We have to do all of our votes by roll call vote, so you identify yourself and yes, no, or here, for example. And during any public testimony or comment, members of the public would need to use the raise hand function to be recognized by the chair at an appropriate time in order to contribute your remarks or participate in the meeting. And yeah, that is it for the useful part of the remote meeting instructions. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.
And usually we go right into reviewing and accepting the meeting minutes, but tonight's a different meeting.
Roll call vote.
What's that?
We have to do the roll call attendance. Sorry.
Oh, to launch the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, to make sure that everybody's here. Yeah, sorry.
Costumian, yes.
Hill, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
Stacy, yes.
Lovna, yes.
And Betsy, it's
Betsy,
you.
yes.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so normally we start with the meeting minutes, but we have two new members, Polovna and Betsy. Thank you so much for joining us on the Affordable Housing Trust. Thank you for volunteering your time and energy and knowledge. And we look forward to working with you guys. And I'll just kick it over to you if you guys would like to say a couple words to introduce yourselves.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited. I was very active when I worked when I lived in Boston, and I lived in Easton for about 10 years, but I have kids, and my son is 10 now, and I moved here 10 years ago, and I was really focused on being a mom, and now I'm ready to go back to what I know and just being a part of the community and volunteering my time and getting to know people. So I'm really excited about this. So thank you for having me, and I'm really happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry.
Betsy, I think you just muted yourself. Oh, you're back. Good.
I'm back. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Betsy Kelly. I've been a resident of Easton for about 30 years, so probably is time for me to step up and do a little volunteer work in the town. My kids are all grown and in their 20s now. I am a real estate attorney by trade, and so hoping that experience might help us a little bit as well. And I look forward to meeting everybody.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay. So we can move right on. Our first agenda item is the Affordable Housing Trust 2024-2025 work plan, finances, municipal surplus property discussion. So I guess this is probably a good way to get acclimated on what's going on with the trust. And Wayne, I think you sent out some documents. Was it with us?
Not a ton. I sent out the current, I got it last night from the town accountant, but the current state of the trust finances. And I was sort of struggling with how do we word the agenda? Because there's nothing critical to do right now. But clearly, I'm sure folks are curious about any of the projects we've got going on, and what does the trust usually do? What have we done in the past? What are we hoping to do in the year ahead? We've talked about things like the municipal surplus property. So this is sort of a bit of a baggy conversation, and I'm not really sure how to most productively structure it.
Okay.
A baggy conversation?
Yeah, it's not like structured and linear, it's like, well, just a little all over the map.
Yeah. Should we just go through the items, each one and kind of explain what they are and,
Sure.
what we've been doing?
Yeah.
I mean, the carry forward, I think, is probably straightforward, right?
Yeah. Let me see. Watch this. We just had a whole conversation about can Wayne do
Sharing.
the share screen function.
Well, that's helpful. I'm looking at two different screens to try to share or to try to look.
Does this work? Can people see this?
Yep.
Woohoo. All right. And yeah. So I am not very good at reading these sorts of things. So son of a gun. There we are. So I asked the town accountant to, sort of give me an overview or a quick tutorial on what, is being conveyed in this. So by way of background for the new members, the Affordable Housing Trust was approved maybe 15 or more years ago at town meeting. And the mission of the trust is to work to further affordable housing opportunities in the town. And the trust historically has been doing things like we had a rental assistance program during COVID. We have developed several properties in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. We have done an 8-bedroom group home for folks with acquired brain injuries. And the trust is funded in several ways. The very top section there, the whole carry forward part, that represents, I believe, an old legal mitigation settlement from decades and decades ago, and then the interest that accrues to it. And so that carries forward from year to year. So right now it's at, the 189,769, over here. And then the interest so far this fiscal year is the 8920. And so, that's where that stands. The bulk of the trust's funding comes from the Community Preservation Act. And CPA, as folks know, is a local option real estate, a property tax surcharge that towns can vote to opt into. And I think something like 170 or so cities and towns in Massachusetts have done that. And the way it works is you can vote to put a surcharge on property taxes of 1%, 2%, or 3%. Easton chose 3% back in I think 2001 or something. And the first, I think, $100,000 of value is exempt, and there's other exemptions for lower income folks. And under the state enabling statute, you can only do 3 or 4 things with these funds. You cannot use them for anything except open space conservation, historic preservation, and community or affordable housing. In the open space conservation, there's also a somewhat later recreation component, so you can use it to build new outdoor recreation facilities. So, for example, Easton has funded the acquisition of big open space properties, a lot of historic preservation work around town. There's a big playground project happening at the middle school right now that CPA funds. There's the pickleball courts on Unionville Field up on Washington Street by the Union Villa. So there's a lot of projects around town that have been funded. And long-winded way, under the enabling statute, you have to set aside 10% of your annual receipts to each of the three buckets, right? Open space, affordable housing, and historic preservation. And then the other 70 you can use for any of those options. So almost every year, the Affordable Housing Trust gets that 10%. And it tends to be in the range of about 225 or something, about 225,000. You know, it fluctuates year to year. There's also a state match that fluctuates from year to year. The calculation on that is pretty complicated. I won't really go into it. It's by Registry of Deeds receipts, and then they allocate it to towns based on how much the towns have brought in, and that varies from year to year. And they do it several times a year. Actually, it's not just a one and done. So, you know, going into the CPA Affordable Housing Trust line, there's just this very small amount that's a carryover that never actually got assigned to any account. That's sort of an artifact we can deal with later or not. But what we got at town meeting, last town meeting, May of 24, we got a roughly 225 plus two different disbursements from the state, you know, 10% of that. So that's what this 291,374 is. So that was the May 2024 town meeting allocation to the trust. I am so sorry. There's also administrative costs that you can use your trust funds towards, and that's what this line is. And that does like legal documents and recording, and it also pays my part-time salary. I'm part-time with the trust, part-time with a lot of other CPA stuff here in Easton in the planning department. Before this meeting, back in maybe it was June or even earlier, so several years ago, the town accountants created a number of little sub-accounts so that we could track individual projects, and most of those have closed out and finished up. So the trust did sort of a cleanup of reallocating the extinct accounts and just basically put pretty much everything into this small development general as like a catch-all holding account. That's what the 739 is. And so you add it all together, you know, here we are with the CPA funds, and then you add in the carry forward from that mitigations payment. So basically the trust has 1.2 million. And the way trust projects historically work is not much happens for a year or two, and then we have an opportunity to acquire property, to build units, at which point we are making, you know, $250,000, $350,000 expenses in one go when we acquire properties and subsidize buildings. So this sort of kicks into, I think, you know, the larger conversation about the year ahead. And some of the things the trust has been talking about in previous meetings. And Nikki and I were talking about, we had a meeting with some folks in the TA's office and the Community Preservation Committee Chair, Tom Broussard, about the possibility of doing something significantly larger. Mostly we've been doing, you know, 1 and 2 unit habitat developments or the 8-bedroom group home. But a lot of towns have done some pretty interesting, creative, affordable housing projects with larger unit counts. And that usually involves a partnership with an experienced nonprofit developer who can access other sources of state and federal funds and grants and tax credits to make pretty complicated projects work. There are affordable elderly housing projects, which is an important need in town. There could be supportive veterans housing, which some towns have done, which is pretty interesting and also a need in town. There's always a need for more family housing. So there are a lot of interesting projects that other towns have done in the, multi-million-dollar range. And this ties in with the town having some surplus properties thanks to the new DPW and public safety facilities being built. So that will open up some of the former sites. And the town has received a $50,000 grant from the state to do some planning for how these properties could be reused for any number of purposes, not just housing, because of course the town has a lot of interests and needs. So if that planning and the public process indicates that there's an interest in using some of these properties for housing, that could be an opportunity to do something pretty significant. So that's what that municipal surplus properties conversation has been about. Was that useful for anybody?
Wayne, I'm so impressed that you were able to go through that like that, with the stats and going over CPC statute.
Me too.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
that was, I would have taken me several hours to draft up. So Wayne is an invaluable resource to have. He has this info at the top of his head at all times, and he knows he's a very invaluable resource here for us. I think I would just add, maybe if we could just go over briefly some of our, well, actually, I guess we're going to be going over our ongoing projects next. So, I thought that was extremely helpful. Does anyone, especially the new members, have any questions on any of that?
No, I don't. I was hoping to just understand your guys' process and everything and go from there.
Well, it's an interesting or exciting time to be on the trust, I would say, because the process is always difficult to create and maintain affordable housing in a municipality like Easton. I would dare to say. And we've always been operating on our budget that is that Wayne has just gone over. But in the prospect of being able to do some more bigger things on the horizon, whether or not that pans out, just the prospect of having that is really exciting and new for us. So, I like to say that we have this like copper of money that we sit on sometimes for a while, because the way to make and create the opportunities that come up, they come up quickly. They're usually as a result of us, especially Wayne, being creative in finding opportunities. And usually you have to jump on them quickly. They are different every time. And I think a couple of the examples we'll go through on our ongoing projects, Paquonicket and Morse Road, are, I would say, anything but standard, but they kind of are the way we've done things recently.
And I think we've got Ernso has joined us, I believe.
Yes, definitely. I've been listening to you. And,
Hi, Ernso.
so, hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I got here late, but sometime somehow I got here.
Excellent.
And then I was able to hear your expose, in fact, and it was great. It was great.
Very impressive.
Very impressive, and I learned a lot.
Great.
That was a nice synopsis, Wayne. You really hit that on the mark.
Yes.
I just have one other little suggestion, and sorry, Nikki, don't mean to jump in your way.
Please.
But maybe the new people would like to know a little bit about those of us who have been around for a while, or why we're here.
Not a bad idea. So I can start with that. I'm actually not sure how long I've been on the trust. It's been about a decade. And it's similar to your story, Palomna. I actually, I moved to Easton 12 years ago and I have a 12-year-old. And I am an attorney and I work at a government consulting firm in Boston. We do some real estate, we do a lot of government policy work. And when I had my son 12 years ago, I decided I was going to go back to work part-time. And I thought, what am I going to do with all my free time? I need to volunteer in some boards. So here I am, 10 years later. And I found it very rewarding, very interesting. I really like being able to be up to date on what's going on with the town. But more than that, I found that the people that run the town and volunteer in the town, for the most part, are so extremely thoughtful and committed to, weighing everything out and doing the best for the town. So it's been a really eye-opening in a positive way experience for me. I'll pass it on.
Thank you, Nikki. That's helpful.
Sam, I think you're next in line. You're the longest other than me.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math on things. I moved to Easton, I think 14 years ago, but I'm a teacher. I'm a first grade teacher in town, and I've been doing that since 2007. So that's probably what, obviously first kind of got me very interested in Easton. My oldest is 16, so we've lived here most of his life. And I found myself on here probably, I feel like it could be close to, I guess it's not 10 years ago, but I'm going by my kids' ages to figure these things out. So maybe it's been like 7 or 8 years. And I obviously have, great interest in the town, working here and living here, raising kids here, and finding my own housing difficulties here. And yeah, just a passion for, equality in a lot of ways. And this felt like a good volunteer board to get on and see what I could do to help things around here, and, a town I obviously care very much about. So hopefully that is somewhat clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. That's very helpful.
Okay, and I think I'm next longest in line, and I couldn't tell you how long I've been here either. So we should look that up someday and figure that out. But I've lived in town for 25 years. I'm semi-retired. I'm a grandmother. So, but I am the representative to the Affordable Housing Trust from the Easton Housing Authority is my technical affiliation. I've been in housing authority industry for over 26 years, and I'm back at it once again. And so I work in the field. I'm very passionate about providing affordable housing because I know it's severely lacking in this town. A lot of people can't live here who would like to. Mm-hmm. So I think it's we've done some great stuff, and I think we will continue to do some great stuff. I'm very encouraged to hear we've got potential big projects on the horizon, because we've been dabbling in little things here and there, but it's been great what we've done. And I'm very happy that we got some new members, and I always love new blood to the system.
Well said, Chris-Ann.
Thank you.
I don't know, Ernsto or Jen, it's up to you guys.
You beat me, Ernsto, so why don't you go next, and I'll round us home.
Okay, so, for me, I've been here I moved here 14 years ago, 15 years ago. It's going to be 15 years ago. No, 14 years ago. And it's like I live in New York for 25 years before that. And it's like 14 years ago, I wanted to change certain things in my life, and then I moved here, and it's the best place I've ever been in Easton. I work for Mass DOT. I'm an electrical engineer, but I work as a construction engineer all my life since I've been in New York. I work in the I'm from it's like Mass Transit Authority in New York, and then moving here, I work for Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and it's like it's recently I started working as an electrical engineer, but I've been building bridges and repairing the tunnels in Boston, and mostly that's it. Then I'm a grandfather of two. My youngest is 15. The oldest is 17 years old, and the joy of my life. They live in Connecticut, but most of the time they come here and spend weekends with me, and it's beautiful. I joined this group probably 5 years ago. I'm not sure exactly, for 5 years ago, and I like this town. And like Shady just said, a lot of people would love to live here, but they probably cannot afford it. And this program is a program that I like, and I'd like to invest a little more time in it. Probably when I retire, I probably will retire next year, and my time will be. I intend to spend most of my retirement time on with doing and trying to help the affordable housing. And my goal would be to expose it a little more, let people who are in need know about the beautiful work that we're doing in order to help them out, right? And that's my goal. I don't really have the chance to, I don't really have the chance now to really get involved and get that done. But very soon, that's my goal. That's what I intend to do when I really retire.
That's a great goal.
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't know any of that about you, Ernest.
This is actually great for all of us to hear each other's backgrounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same. Thank you.
So I'm Jen Stacy. I am the representative from the select board. So I'm one of our 5 select board members in town. And what we do is whenever there's a representative needed for a board or committee, we split up participation based on our interests. So I serve on the Affordable Housing Trust. I also serve on the Committee for Climate Action Planning right now. I'm the chair of that committee. The Budget Subcommittee, which is a little bit of a pause because the big focus right now is on the PACE Committee, which is really drilling down deeply into a much more kind of holistic picture that includes budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also on a branding subcommittee for the CCAP. So I have been a member of the Affordable Housing Trust since 2021 when I was elected on the select board. And prior to that, my journey volunteering in this capacity in Easton started as a member of the finance committee in 2018. I lived in Easton since 2017, but I grew up next door in Stoughton, bounced around for a while. Nikki is also from Stoughton, so I can tell you kind of, if you grew up in Stoughton, one of the towns you aspire to live in if you wanted to stay in the area was Easton. So I'm very familiar with Easton's trajectory from kind of a more chill, kind of more bucolic community to what it's grown into, which I think is, it's a trade-off. It's a beautiful community, and I'm so glad to be here. And one of the things that I really admire about this community is that we respect those trade-offs. We value good growth with intention, with also maintaining our character, the things that people came here for. So it's a balancing act, like everything. And I think the Affordable Housing Trust plays a really critical role as really this growth happens everywhere, making sure that those who maybe marginalized for various reasons have resources and opportunity that wouldn't be there. So I work in technology. I'm in the I work for the research group for a big software company. It's part of IBM, and my job is people management and project management. And another connection back for me is actually one of my master's degrees is in urban planning. So this has always been a passion of mine, which is, so it's really exciting to be part of this group. We do great work. I'm really passionate about it. And, it's great to see new folks here. So thank you.
Very nice, very nice.
Also well
Thank
said.
you.
I think that's everyone, right?
What about the new group, the new member that I'd like to hear from them, who they really are.
You may have missed it. They have already introduced themselves, but I'll let them if they don't mind. Just want a brief recap for Ernso.
Sure, of course. My name is Polovna. I've been living out in Easton for about 10 years. It's very nice to meet you guys, and I feel very comfortable with you guys. So thank you for being so welcoming. I currently work at Brigham and Women's Hospital. I'm an operations manager for the Center of Clinical Investigations. And prior to living in Easton, I lived in Hyde Park, and I was very active in my community. Everybody knew me. And I had my son, who's 10 now, and I moved out here, and I kind of lived a secluded life in Easton. I kind of stayed to myself, and my son is older now, and he doesn't think I'm as cool as he used to. So I started to feel like I should branch out and do other things. So I decided to just join a committee and just find my way again, get back on my path, because I've always been in advocacy. I've always worked with people, and I love what I do. I'm very passionate, and I thought this would be a great fit for me. So thank you for having me.
Welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome to our group. It's very nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm Betsy Kelly. Sorry, I have not quite figured out my camera on this phone yet.
Okay.
I've been in Easton about 30 years now, and all my kids born and raised here. And by day, I'm a real estate attorney, and similar to others, just thought it was time to participate in some community work. So I look forward to working with everyone.
Yes. Welcome. Welcome to our group, Betsy.
Great.
Very nice.
Wayne, what about you? You want to say something?
Yes.
Our
Wayne.
leader?
Hi. I do not live in Easton. I live in Boston. I grew up on my grandparents' tobacco farm in southern Maryland. My background is in Chinese and East Asian studies.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been a long and strange journey through various different career paths. I have a master's degree of all things in historic preservation from BU, and worked for the Massachusetts Historical Commission, the Boston Landmarks Commission. And prior to this job, for 9 years, I did conservation real estate transactions for a nonprofit group called the Trustees of Reservations. And one of the projects I worked on was the Governor Ames estate here in Easton, which is how I got to know the town and some of the folks who work and volunteer here. Mm-hmm. And I've been working for Easton in the planning department, supporting Community Preservation Act projects and the Affordable Housing Trust and the planning department for about 11 years now. So that is my somewhat circuitous journey to strangely knowing an awful lot about affordable housing. But you just kind of get tossed into the deep end and you figure it out and you make good things happen, which I think is all any of us can do, really. And
I didn't realize you have a degree from BU, Wayne. That's crazy.
Yeah. Right.
I have a long history, including my city planning degree from there. So I wonder if we overlapped at all.
Yeah, that would be very funny. Yeah, I suspect I'm a decade or two at least older than you, but yeah. It's like BU, here I am. Who'd have thought? you know,
Yeah.
from,
And then Wayne, for me, the farmers market sign behind you, we was a part of the same board in different time frame, and I think that's crazy. What does it all
Wow.
mean, right?
That's crazy.
And
That's
someday,
crazy.
yeah, it's such
someday
a
I
small
will hear
world.
more about this
What
tobacco
year did you,
farm
Wayne, what year
that's
did you get
been-
your degree at BU?
2020.
2020. Okay, because I worked on BU for 3 years, and that was in 2010,
Oh, okay.
2011, 2012. So I was part of one of the engineers that renovate the whole bridge,
Yeah.
Boston
Oh,
University.
oh, yes.
Yes.
I
you
remember that. I love
remember
that
that.
bridge, and it's like,
Yes.
tear it down. I'm like, no, it's beautiful. Please save it. And so it's like, yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you. Thank you for
You're
doing
welcome. You're welcome.
Wayne, it sounds like you're the common denominator here.
that. Oh no.
He is.
I'm sorry.
He's the
No,
glue that
it's-
keeps us together.
He
I
is.
try. It's, no,
Absolutely.
this has
Absolutely.
been a tremendous group of folks to work with, and
Yes.
it has been so exciting over the last several years, seeing our capacity grow. Our
Yes.
ability to do increasingly interesting and difficult projects, and build our reputational capital, I think, in town as folks who can actually get some pretty interesting things done. And it's pretty exciting that, folks, on the CPC have reached out and said, actually, we would be interested to see something even bigger, for affordable housing in Easton. Which is really exciting. I called it, Nikki may remember in our meeting last week or the week before, I call it my Pinterest board. So I'm trying to clean it up a little bit for prime time, but there are just all these really neat, creative, inspiring projects all around the metropolitan Boston area. And it's like, we could do something like that, I bet we could pull something like that off.
Yep.
So it'd be really fun, I think, to try
Yep.
and make something happen at scale.
Nice.
Well, original CPC was what got Shoveltown off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Pinterest board is going to be immensely valuable for us. So,
Yeah. It's fun.
as is everything that Wayne provides.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we can move on now to the go over the ongoing projects, and maybe we can do a little explanation of how we got them and any updates. So the two ongoing projects right now are 26 Pequonnet and 10 Morse Road. 26 Pequonnet looks great. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area, but you may have driven by. Wayne, if you don't mind, I'm going to kick it to you because just technicalities. I don't want to say something that's not fully accurate, and it goes. You have it on top of your head already.
This may not be exactly accurate either, but so one of the ways the trust does its work is by finding developable parcels that you can create affordable housing on. And one of the big constraints, in addition to zoning, of course, is wastewater treatment capacity. So you can only put but so many units on any parcel because, you need to have a septic tank and a leach field. So that means that a lot of the projects the trust has done has been 1 and 2 family houses. And with that in mind, the sort of hunt for developable properties, we had sort of 2 opportunities come up around about the same time. There was a parcel at 26 Pequonnet Avenue that had been owned by the Easton Housing Authority. And it was a very deteriorated single-family house from, I think, the 1930s and in quite poor condition. And For the housing authority, given the various financial constraints and regulatory requirements to actually do a comprehensive renovation or rebuild, it would have been like north of, I think, Chrisanne, like $1 million. It was absurdly expensive. Yeah, more than $1 million. So they sold it to use the proceeds of that sale to then buy an already existing single-family home in much better condition to replace that family unit, which they did, and I believe that's working out quite well. And the Affordable Housing Trust responded to the RFP and had the winning bid, and we bought it for $235 maybe, which is a fair price for a parcel in Easton. And then we issued an RFP for a nonprofit developer to create a unit of affordable unit of family housing, with a preference for, if they had a candidate family, for a large or extended or multi-generational family, because most houses are 2 or 3 bedrooms, but what do you do when you have a grandparent or an adult child, or so could we do something larger? And Habitat for Humanity, South Shore Habitat for Humanity, had the winning response, and we awarded it to them, and with a modest grant as well of about $35,000. And last fall, I think it was, they took ownership. They demolished the deteriorated house. That was a very fun ribbon cutting day. It was really good to see. There's a number of folks, young folks from the Southeast Regional Vocational School who will be working on the project, which is always inspiring. And they've got the foundation in, and they tell me they will be working more heavily on the construction side of it in the new year, when the VOTEC students have more availability. And then, of course, there'll be more volunteer opportunities. And the way the Habitat model works is they identify the family that will be living in the unit, and then they help build it. So they had the lottery, and I believe that just closed or something. So they're in the process of actually selecting the family that will be living in the property and participating in the construction. So that's that update there. And then another path, not even the most convoluted or difficult one for finding properties, is 10 Morse Road. So if you have property, you pay property taxes on it. The taxes are on its highest and best use. If it's a single family house, you're obviously paying, the market rate, taxes on the market rate, if you were to, like, say, sell the house. Or if it's restricted affordable, it should be on, the restricted affordable price, this kind of thing. But if you have like a big chunk of woods that you're using for forestry, or if you have a farm, there's a tax provision called Chapter 61 that means you pay very low taxes so that you can still afford to, say, run the farm without having to pay as if it's a 20-unit development for McMansions. So if a property is in Chapter 61, one of the things that does is, if you take it out of Chapter 61 to sell it, the town has a right of first refusal. So you have a purchase and sale from someone who's going to buy it, and then the town has the legal right to go, that's awesome, the town will buy it for that amount. So the Morse Cranberry Company created a really huge lot off of Purchase Street, but what that really did was create two frontage lots on Morse Road, which then gave the town the right of first refusal to acquire those parcels. And the trust did not have enough money to buy both. They were not very expensive. They were like $225, and they were very large, very developable lots. And that again points to why we try to keep a large pot of money so we can actually act on it when we have the opportunity. But we did have enough to buy one, and that was $225,000. And so we did a similar RFP. Again, South Shore Habitat was the respondent. They now have ownership of it. They've received also a $35,000 grant to help with costs, and they will be starting work on that, I believe, next spring, they tell me. So that's the update on the two Habitat for Humanity houses that the trust acquired the property for, and that's an example of how we try to create housing. Oh, and an important thing about 10 Morris, it's going to be 2 units. It's a duplex, so it's a 2 3-bedroom dwelling units.
Again, nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's fun stuff, and Habitat is just a joy to deal with. They're really good people.
Yeah,
we've done several projects around town, and then the hunt for land. Of course, we did a project that involved having to acquire little tax title parcels that were too small to really develop, and then get them out of tax title, which was like a 2-year legal process, and then combine them, and then get the RFP out, and then Habitat responded and built a house there. And then for the group home project down on Foundry Street, that was a piece of property the town acquired back in like 1990, but it was too wet to develop except for a little elevated area. So we worked with BAMC, Brockton Area Multi-Services, and their developer Global Properties to create a duplex of 4 bedrooms each, 1 for women, 1 for men, so it's 8 bedrooms, for folks with acquired brain injuries. And we had a open house down there. I think, Nikki, did you manage to make it to that one?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, in December of like 2 years ago or something, and it was super inspiring, but also kind of heartbreaking because there's just hundreds of people on waiting lists for this kind of housing. And, folks who just have these, brain injuries, and they're, living in hospitals, and it's like, where can they go? So it's a huge need, this sort of group housing. So it was working through the process of getting that piece of town land dedicated. You have to go to town meeting and have a big town meeting vote for that kind of thing. So there's like a lot of paperwork involved in trying to get parcels to a point where a developer can actually build affordable housing on them. But we've been doing some pretty fun things.
Yeah. And for every completed or in progress project that we've had a bunch of opportunities that we vet excitedly, and they don't always work out for one reason or another, but these are the kinds of they end up with typically small number of units, but it's just kind of what, like I was saying earlier, the opportunities that come up infrequently, we have to jump on them, and successful opportunities even less frequently. So thanks to Wayne for being creative, and the board for being quick to respond as we have been.
Yeah, we have 2 things that did not pan out. We had another Chapter 61 possibility on Howard Street, and the owner actually just withdrew the property from sale completely. So we did not move forward. The select board did not move forward with exercising that right of first refusal. And then you'll see in the executive minutes that we'll be getting to later, we made an offer on a started to be under renovation and then stalled out property at 3537 Pequannock, and that offer was not accepted. So, and that was not a Chapter 61, that was just an offer we made based on an appraisal. So, often we will try and make offers and things just don't happen.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. Any questions? Do you guys have any questions on that? If not, we can move on to.
Not really, no.
Okay. Should we move on to board reorganization? All right.
So I think we voted on this several months. So at the start of each fiscal year, boards and committees are, best practices. You vote for your new officers, and depending on the bylaw or whatever that put the board or commission, or if there's a state requirement behind it, there are certain board officers you're supposed to have, and theoretically you should vote at the beginning of each fiscal year when you have a bunch of new members on who your board officers are. And for the Affordable Housing Trust is chair and clerk. So our clerk was Amy Rodriguez, who's awesome, but has been on the trust for quite a while and also has a full-time job and other volunteer commitments. And she was like, could we transition? I was like, absolutely, thank you for service. So we no longer have a clerk. And what a clerk does is effectively nothing. Theoretically, if you did not have staff support, the clerk would be the person who would post agendas and take and post minutes. But you've got me and I do that. So there's actually no job, no work for the clerk. And Nikki, of course, has been our chair, leading us for quite some time now. So I think tonight it's, to vote for a chair, and if anybody wants to, check the box to be our clerk.
I can check the box.
That's who said that? Sam? Thank you, Sam.
Can I nominate Sam officially?
Yes, if we want to have a motion to nominate Sam Hill as clerk and Nikki Dastumian as chair, that would be awesome.
Yeah, look how you stuck that one in there.
Yeah, I definitely nominate Nikki as chair.
Nikki, are you cool with that?
I'm cool with it.
And Wayne, can we do slate once I make the motion? Okay. So I'd like to nominate Sam Hill to serve as clerk and Nikki Dastumian to serve as chair of the Affordable Housing Trust.
And I will second that motion.
Okay. So I'll kick us off. Stacy Slate.
I do the same thing, right? Even though it's myself. Yep. Okay. Hill, Slate.
Sheedy Slate.
Dastumian Slate.
All right, Ernso, Polovna, or Betsy, you're up. Ernso, you're muted, but I'm going to assume your raised hand was
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Steven Slate.
Oh, thank you.
Same.
Thank you, Lane Slate. Great. And I think I heard a yes from Betsy Kelly.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Unanimous.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you all.
Thank you both for serving, and Nikki for what, 10 years now?
Probably.
Congratulations,
Thank
our
you.
clerk. Congratulations to our clerk. Yes.
Okay, next up is the representative to the master plan committee. Also me. Yeah, so I have been talking to Wayne, and would it be appropriate to say I volunteer? I'm so paranoid about the way I speak and what goes out on record, but I volunteered to represent the Affordable Housing Trust on the master plan committee. And that is if no one else on the board here has a burning desire to do that. So
You're good with me.
okay.
You're perfect for it. So.
Okay. I don't know about that, but
Do you need a
You want to
motion
take
to
on
get you
another chair?
I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
yeah, so Wayne, do we need a
I think a motion and a second, yeah.
I motion that Nikki Dastumian take on the Affordable Housing Trust appointment to the what's it called?
Master Plan Update Committee?
Master Plan Committee. Sorry.
I second that.
Just you mean yes.
Stephen,
Bill,
yes.
Kelly, yes.
Stephen, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
Stacy, yes.
Is that everyone?
That's everyone.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
You sure you want to thank us for that?
I volunteered for it, so.
Well, and one of the big things that's changed in the last 10 years since the 2014 master plan is how critically important housing opportunities are for Easton. So
This is true.
yeah, this is
Yep.
actually an appointment with some real utility to it. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and so has everyone had a chance to review the regular session meetings from June 18th? I think can you vote on them even if you weren't there?
Yes, you are allowed to vote to accept minutes, even if you did not participate in that meeting or were not at that meeting, so long as you have read them.
Perfect.
And
Thought so.
yeah, so people can in fact vote to accept. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the regular session meeting minutes from June 18th, 2024.
I'll
I
second
second
that
it.
motion.
Awesome. Just you mean yes?
Bill,
Stephen,
yes.
Stephen, yes.
Kelly, yes.
Stacy, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
Alrighty. And I will make a motion also to accept and release the executive session meeting minutes from June 18th, 2024.
I second that.
Does you mean yes?
Kelly,
Stephen,
yes.
yes. Stephen,
Bill,
yes.
yes.
Stacy, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
Perfect. And that's it for our agenda for tonight. Almost exactly an hour after we started. Should we pick a date for our next meeting, Wayne?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah. Now that we're like, we've got a full group again, and we're, looking at the master plan update, updates on projects, and especially this grant the town is getting for municipal surplus properties planning, which will probably get started in the new year. I think it would be good to, just try to meet at least monthly and sort of get geared up to that. And as our next big opportunity may be emerging.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I think a month from now brings us right into Thanksgiving time. So,
What did we theoretically do? Was it like the second Wednesday or third Wednesday or something?
I think it was the third, but I could be wrong.
That is a week before Thanksgiving this year, like the third Wednesday is the 20th, just for reference.
Yeah, I'm traveling for work that week too, so I wouldn't be able to join.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted people to know it wasn't the holiday.
Yeah, it's late this year.
You guys can always
Yeah.
proceed without me if you have quorum. I just want to let y'all know.
Well,
Would the
if there's
13th
an
work
urgency,
either?
what about the December 4th? Should we move it to the 4th, the first?
I could do the
Wednesday?
13th or the 4th. Both of those are work for me.
Okay.
Yep.
The November 13, did you say? Or
13th
I
of November
cannot-
or December 4th. Yeah.
I can't do November 13th, but I can do the other days mentioned.
Same.
December 4?
December 4th works for me.
So could I get so Betsy says December 4th works. Could I get a thumbs up from everyone for whom December 4th works?
Oh,
That-
everyone.
I love to see it. I should take a picture of this. Make
Same.
it my new screensaver. All right, so 6:30, Wednesday, December 4th is
Yeah.
going to be our next Affordable Housing Trust meeting.
Great.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
And then if anything comes up in the meantime that's critical, I can, which sometimes does happen, like with real estate transactions or something, I can send out a bat signal and we can scramble for a quorum, which sometimes we even pull off at like, noon in the middle of a workday for 10 minutes if we have to.
Definitely.
But that's awesome. Thank you, everybody. And a special thank you to Plum and Betsy for joining. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy to be
you.
a part of the team.
You're welcome. Welcome to our
Thanks,
team.
guys. Have a good night.
And
Good
do we
night,
have
everyone.
a motion and a second for
Oh, you
adjournment?
made the motion. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Third.
Trust me, and yes.
Stephen, yes.
Bill, yes.
Stacy, yes.
Sheedy, yes.
All right, everyone.
There
Thank
we
you so
go.
much.
Awesome. Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
all. Be well and have a
Bye-bye.
happy holiday.
You
You
Happy
too. Thank you.
holidays.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.